Hello everyone. How you doing today? Well, today I want to do something a little different. See, over here I do call out everybody. And I do have bitter medicine and smoke for everybody, right? But through doing all of that, I do come back and point out good pointers about certain things, right? And what I've noticed on this channel is I talk bad about all the toxic black men, right? And I don't give the few good black men the acknowledgement that they deserve. Because there are some black men who call other black men out, the toxic ones. It's a lot of that going on TikTok. The thing is we pay more attention to the toxic black men than we do the good ones. So what I'm about to do about that is every now and then I'll go find a black man that's on TikTok doing what he's supposed to do, calling other black men out, holding them accountable. Because far too often, there's not many black men who hold other black men accountable. Now, through doing this, I'ma also prove that these black men who are dusties, they don't even listen to the black men who call them out. They take no accountability for their own actions, yet they're all in these comment sections telling us that we have no accountability for our own actions. Some of us don't have any accountability for our own actions, but there are more of us calling each other out than they are. I'm always holding the mammies accountable for their actions. This man right here, he's on TikTok. And what I've done is I put together multiple videos of him holding them accountable. And every time he holds them accountable, they point the finger right back at us or right back at the single moms. Just watch. And make sure you go follow him. He has some great content.
Hard truth moment. 35, 40 years ago, my brothers, black men, the oppressor came to us with an opportunity. The opportunity was for us to be the heads of our own drug cartels. And we said yes. And with this opportunity, we poisoned the wombs and the minds of our women, and we recruited our children to be dealers and child soldiers on the urban streets of America. We decided to trade Malcolm for Nino, Martin for Doughboy. And then, with this new image, we put ourselves in harm's way and we became the most incarcerated group in human history. Now that we're 4 to 5 generations in, the results of our decision is slapping us in the face. And we're wondering why black women and black children today do not trust our leadership. They don't know us. They have no idea who we are anymore. That is because we've been severed from our families. We've been severed from our women. And it has nothing to do with black women wanting to align themselves with the oppression of black men. It has nothing to do with welfare. It has nothing to do with the white man hiring black women to do a job. It has everything to do with our decision. At the moment in history when we should have chosen black women and black children, we chose ourselves. And now we're trying to reconnect with our women, and they don't trust us. Our leadership has no value. We have no value. Everything that they see us as is surface. Sex, money. They don't even look at us as protectors. That is because we left them unprotected. And the bane of their existence for the last 35 or 40 years, the architects of their suffering, the architects of watching their children being gunned down in the streets, were our face. Those men that recruited their children look like us. And so today, we want to pretend that we don't know why black women and black children have this animosity and they reject our leadership. I'm here to tell you, we know. We just don't want to accept this responsibility. because it's hard. It's a bad beat. It's a hard burden to carry, but we're going to have to carry it. We're going to have to accept this so that we can correct course. Otherwise, we'll be at each other's throats for the next 4 to 5 generations.
Listen, man. Listen, brother. We have to stop doing this. We have to stop including the women in conversations when it's time for black men to be held accountable for our actions. The whole idea of women saying that they don't need a man and they're the only ethnicity of women that do that. They're also the only ethnicity of women that had to raise our children for the last 35 or 40 years by themselves because we were too busy running the streets, selling drugs, and murdering each other. We were locked up. So after 4 decades of having to do it on their own because we were too busy doing something else, what do you expect? It is a programming that we did ourselves. Yes, the oppressor was the one that brought us the drugs and the weapons. We could have said no, and we didn't. We could have had a code of conduct, but we didn't. We could have taken that money that we made from all those narco dollars and we could have reinvested it into the black community. Some of us did, but a majority of us did not. We took that money, we went to the car dealerships, we went to the radio shops, Circuit City. In essence, we gave that money back to the oppressor. We didn't reinvest in our black women and our black children. We didn't build any schools. We didn't create any trade centers. We didn't do any of that. We didn't build any soup kitchens. We didn't do any of that. We didn't invent nothing. We did nothing productive with it. We became violent consumers, and we left our women and children to raise themselves, to protect themselves. And now after 4 decades, we're complaining that the women that we complain to not depend on us no longer wants to depend on us. What sense does that make? Why are we blaming them for something that we created? We created this environment. Not the white man, not the Arab, not the Asian. We, black men, we created this environment. We don't want to listen to that. We don't want to hear it. This ain't got nothing to do with the women per se. This is not even for the benefit of the women. This is for us. Because eventually we're going to have to face this reality that the mindset of the black woman of not needing us was created by us. And then the oppressor just ran with it. He just let it. Hey, y'all got it? He didn't even have to interfere. He didn't even have to interfere. Prior to that, prior to this whole issue with drugs, if you'd have asked black women if they feared black men, they would have said no. But today, if you ask that question, it's a resounding yes.
Since we've been blaming single black mothers all weekend, when we have our successes, are those also contributed to single black mothers? All of the moguls, all of the sports athletes, all of our elite black men and women who were raised by single black mothers. Where are the lives that we create to celebrate those women? I don't ever hear anyone or read a topic or read a social media post about a young man who celebrates his single black mom. You know, she was a single black mother, and that is the reason why I landed the job of my dreams. She's a single black mother, and that is the reason why I graduated from college. She was a single black mother, and that is the reason why I'm alive today. She's a single black mother, and that is the reason why I am a high-ranking officer in the military. She's a single black mother, and that's the reason why I have a beautiful wife and children. She's a single black mother, and that's why I own my own business. I don't hear that. I don't hear the celebration of single black mothers when we are at our best. Only when we're at our worst is when I am hearing the cries, and the whining, and the bickering and bitching about single black mothers. Every time as adult men, when we make mistakes as adult men, that's when we want to blame a woman, our mother, who, if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be alive today. Because if our mother was just like our father, we would be in a dumpster, getting eaten by rats and bugs. We wouldn't be here today if our single black mother didn't take accountability and responsibility for our lives. And she more than likely did the best that she could. And maybe her best wasn't good enough. But that's not your place to question her best when you don't do your best right now. Because if you did your best, you wouldn't be blaming your mother for your failures, now would you? So everything that's good and great about us as a people, who takes the credit for that when the majority of us were raised by single black mothers? I wonder.
Brothers, do you know how ignorant you sound right now? Like, really, do you know how ignorant you sound? Black women leave their children to be fatherless by not choosing adequate fathers for them. First and foremost, the fathers left the children. The mother didn't leave anything. The mothers had to take accountability for raising the children because the fathers were too weak to step up to the plate. You see, the problem is that you guys with this narrative is getting tired, and it's really not having the same effect. It doesn't have the same crispness that it used to have, the same freshness, that fresh lettuce crispness. It doesn't have it anymore. It's becoming stale. The same rhetoric that you keep repeating. See, the problem is that you keep trying to deceive people into believing that this is all the work of some Pookie and Ray Ray that we can identify just by looking at them. You see, I did some checking into the child support system. And when the child support system, a lot of men that owe exuberant amounts of child support, these are high earners. High earners. Yo, yes, high earning men. So are those Pookie and Ray Rays too? Because I have yet to find a deadbeat father that actually walked up to a black woman and said, I'm going to date you, get you pregnant, and I'm going to abandon you with those children. No, men step to women and they introduce their representative, and they lead women on to believe that he's going to be solid, that he is a good man, just like you do. You always talk about how good of a man you are. But every time you post, every time you put a comment on my post, you expose yourself of being one of those Pookie and Ray Rays that presents himself as a good man, but underneath the facade, underneath the glitter, you are, sir, a POS. Black women give birth to black boys. Then black men who are part of these black drug cartels recruit the black boys that black women raise into those organizations. There isn't a single woman on planet Earth that gives birth to gang members. The fact that I actually have to say this is embarrassing. Black women do not give birth to gang members. Black women give birth to black boys. And then a black man, more than likely, will recruit that black boy that she gave birth to into those criminal organizations. You see, this is the problem I have with a lot of you that always talk about Pookies and Ray Rays. But you are a Pookie and Ray Ray. A lot of times you guys, you put out this whole narrative that they chose wrong and they choosing the bad boys. But this type of rhetoric, the things that come out of your mouth, lets me know that you were supposed to have gotten looked over. They're not supposed to choose you. You see, because you want to keep people thinking that a Pookie and Ray Ray is just the dude on the corner, the thug, and it's not, right? You are You are. This type of stuff lets me know that you are. You're not a good guy. You're not a catch. You're not one of the good guys. Because good men don't talk like this. Good men actually accepts what's true and what's not. To say that they birth all gang members, don't they? You are not a good guy. You're probably one of the guys that maybe you didn't get involved, but you probably did want to, but you didn't have it in you to actually become an active gang member. And so you think because you didn't do a particular thing that you're a good guy. No, you're not. Because if you were a good man, if you were a good black man, this would never come out of your mouth. Because the truth of the matter is black women don't give birth to gang members. Black women give birth to black boys. A black child, a black boy is born innocent, free of any criminality or even thoughts of committing crimes. Life happens. People inject themselves in those babies' lives, those black boys' lives, and influence them to do horrible things. And 9 times out of 10, the person that are recruiting our black sons into those criminal organizations are black men. Your father wasn't there for you. And throughout life, you struggled. You and your mother struggled. She struggled to put food on the table. She had to work ungodly hours just to make ends meet. You really never got to see your mom because she was always working. The basketball games, she couldn't be there. When you walked across the stage to accept your diploma, she couldn't be there. But nor was your father. And then one day, you received great news, great success. And your father shows, after all of the years of abandonment, after all of the years where he refused to connect with you and to help your mother while the two of you struggled. And he says, I am your father. Embrace me. Would you embrace your father? Would you now depend on your father to bestow upon you the things in life that you missed? Would you trust your father to now lead you going forward? No, you would not. You would look at your father and say, I have nothing to say to you. I don't trust you because I don't know who you are. And that is the human response to anyone that abandoned us. So, black men, after we've abandoned our black women for so many years, and now we've returned and says, submit, marry us, love us, have our children, become traditional after they had to survive in a non-traditional world. Why do we expect for them to simply say yes? Why? Why do we expect for them to accept us again? Am I to believe that all of us had no part in it? Am I to believe that it was only the Pookies and the Ray Rays that abandoned our black women, that abandoned our black mothers to raise us alone? And if that is so, if only a small portion of us was responsible for this, where were the rest of us, brothers? Were we that weak that we allowed a small portion of us to devastate our women? Where were we, brothers? And why do we expect to be accepted with open arms today?
Now in the comments says you have one of the dudes that he was responding to said his little stuff, but the thing that strikes me most is when men come forward and hold other men accountable. The first thing they do is say that these men are pandering to us, but he wasn't talking to black women. He was talking to black men. So he wasn't pandering to us. He was trying to call them out and hold them as men accountable for their actions. And instead of them claiming ownership of their actions, they still turn back around and blame everything on the black woman. Because that makes them feel better about themselves, and they sleep well at night knowing that they can blame all their failures on a woman. I even saw an older man in the comment section going along with that false narrative. See, I told y'all those older men are just as bad as these younger men. And I know I'm about to get a whole lot of crying and complaining in the comment section from some of these same dudes, but I don't care. The truth is the truth regardless of whose mouth it comes out of. I don't know who this TikToker dude is from a can of paint. It doesn't make what he said any less true. He held them accountable. At this point, it doesn't matter who the truth comes from. Many of these dusty, toxic black men are still going to resist the truth and deny it. And at the end of the day, blame all of his failures and disappointments on a black woman. They're never going to have any accountability for their own actions. They're always going to claim victim and blame it either on the black woman or white supremacy. But anyway, I'm about to log off now. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the comment section. Do you agree with what old dude said or do you disagree? And don't forget to like, subscribe, definitely comment and share. Peace.